हरि ओम। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शङ्करो वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणो याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हरि ओम हरि ओम. So we are seeing the third chapter of Gita, in which Bhagwan gives various reasons to tell us, to tell Arjuna, that he has to work, he has to perform his duties, dedicating all his duties to Ishvara. That work is very important. Ultimately, we have to gain that enlightenment. We have to gain freedom from our bondage. We have to gain freedom from this samsara, which is possible only through self-knowledge. But that self-knowledge can be gained by following the path of Karma Yoga. So through Karma Yoga, our mind becomes pure, and by blessings of Bhagwan and our teacher, we gain knowledge. So Bhagwan gave various reasons why karma is very important, and he gives some advice even to the enlightened person, that you work even though you have nothing to gain or lose in this world, but for the sake of loka sangraha, and guide the ignorant people, guide all people on the right path, engage them in their respective duties, guiding them on the right path without creating confusion in their mind. So we have this ignorance which we are carrying from the beginningless time. Because of ignorance, we don't recognize ourselves. The sense of I which we have is actually expression of that Brahma only. We are that Brahma, but at present we don't recognize ourselves as Brahma. We only experience our own existence, but our real nature is not comprehended. We experience ourselves associated with our gross body, and we experience ourselves associated ourselves with our subtle bodies, and we also experience ourselves separated from our gross body and subtle body in deep sleep. So we experience ourselves in deep sleep. The same I which we experience in sleep is also experienced in dream along with the mind, and is experienced in the waking along with the gross body also. So that I is free from all activities. That I is free from all modifications. That we saw in the second chapter, it is neither born nor does it die. It is totally unattached. But because of this association with the gross body and the subtle body, there is a false feeling that the activities happening in the body is happening in me. The activities happening in the mind is happening to me. So Bhagavan says this body, mind, etc. are all expressions of Prakriti, the nature of Bhagavan, Prakriti. And all activities are happening in Prakriti, not in the self, not in me. All these activities are happening in Prakriti. But due to association with this Prakriti, I feel I have this notion that it is happening in me, that I am doing all these activities. So Bhagavan calls such person an ignorant person. So prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimodhatma karta ahamiti manyate. Bhagavan says all the activities are being done by prakriti, in prakriti, by the laws of prakriti. But a person who is confused regarding the exact nature of this prakriti and how I am different from it, considers himself as the doer of all these actions. So ahankara vimodhatma, vimoda person, confused, deluded by this identification with the body mind, considers himself as the doer. Karta ahamiti manyate. So even after hearing it, even after thinking about it, this strong sense of doership doesn't just disappear. It doesn't just go. Even when we hear that I am different from the body, still I continue to experience the body, the pain, the pleasure. Even though the scriptures tell me that I am different from my subtle body, I continue to experience myself as having the feeling and thinking, etc. So it is not so easy to dissociate with the body, mind, and recognize our own true self. So for that, we have to perform our actions and slowly and steadily make our mind more and more subtle, more and more pure, so that we come to recognize ourselves. So therefore Bhagavan says that a wise person, he sees the play of this prakriti, that everything is happening by the gunas of prakriti. Guna guneshu vartante. Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. See, I, the self, is of the nature of pure knowledge, pure existence, pure bliss. No activities are happening in me, but all in my presence, all the activities are happening in Prakriti. So a wise person sees the play of this Prakriti and doesn't get attached. Therefore Bhagavan says in the next verse, guidance to a wise person, he says in verse number 29, Prakriter gunasammudhaha sajjante gunakarmasu tana krishnavido mandan krishnavinna vichalayet. Bhagavan says that prakritehe gunasammudhaha sajjante gunakarmasu tan akrishnavido mandan krishnavit navichalayet. Bhagavan says the ignorant person who is a Krishnavid, who doesn't know the whole mechanism of these activities which are happening, who doesn't know his role in this whole thing, how that Prakriti is playing this show, and how he is the witness of all this but gets entangled into it. So such an ignorant person, a Krishnavid, who is not the knower of the whole play of this Prakriti, and because of not knowing, Prakritir guna sammudhaha, gets totally deluded by the gunas of Prakriti. By the gunas of Prakriti. See, just like the example is given in Atma Bodh, that when you look at the sky at night, you see the beautiful moon, and you see lots of clouds are there, and the clouds are moving because of the wind. The clouds are moving, and when you look at the clouds and the moon together, you feel, you get a what you call that optical illusion that the moon is moving with full speed. The movement of the clouds are superimposed on the moon, and one feels as though the moon is moving. But really, the moon is not moving, only the clouds are moving. The moon is stationary. Even when we go to see a movie, some 3D movie and all, you see those objects as though coming out of that screen and almost hitting you, and you try to duck and save yourself. But really speaking, all that thing is happening on the screen only. You are just a witness of the whole thing. But you identify with the movie so much that you get too much involved with the movie, and whatever is happening there, you feel it is happening to yourself. When the hero is sad and crying, you also sit on your seat and start crying. When the hero is very happy and smiling, you also sit there and smile. But all these things are happening on the screen. Similarly, all this play is happening on the screen, on this Prakriti, and I am just a witness of it. But not knowing this, I get involved. So such a person, ignorant person who is totally involved with the and confused with the gunas of Prakriti, Prakriti gunasammudaha sajjante gunakarmasu, get totally attached and identified with the activities of the Prakriti. See, just like in our dream. It's very interesting. We are sleeping in our own bedroom, and everything is safe and comfortable. Then I go to sleep, and after I fall asleep, I start dreaming, and I start experiencing myself in another place. So I see myself in a forest, and there are wild animals there, and I move around very scared and afraid of them. The whole atmosphere is different. I feel, as I walk, I feel hungry and I feel thirsty also. So it is my experience there. I feel thirsty, I feel hungry, I can feel the pangs of hunger in me. Then when I wake up, I suddenly find myself totally at a different place, very comfortably lying on my bed. There is no forest, there are no wild animals, there is no hunger, there is no thirst. So isn't it very strange that I, who was experiencing hunger and thirst, the same I is experiencing freedom from hunger and thirst. So how come I experience that? It is experienced because of my association with my mind. This association is very strong. It doesn't go away. So in the waking, I am associated with my gross body. When I sleep, I get dissociated with my gross body, but I continue to associate with my mind. When I am in deep sleep, I dissociate with my gross body as well as my subtle body. I remain alone. That I is the real I. But that I is not recognized in the waking and dream, and I get fully involved with the activities of the body-mind, thinking that they belong to me. So I am totally identified with them, and I actually experience myself as thinking, as deciding, as doing the work to gain a particular result. It is very much real to me. Just like in a dream, if somebody has to come and tell me that, oh, this forest is all in your mind only, it is not there, I will never believe that person. It is very much real to me. Similarly, all my experience of my waking is very much real to me. I act for a particular result and I gain that result. I develop more desire, I act. So this is my direct experience. Whatever the scripture says, whatever the wise man says, this is what I am experiencing. So Bhagavan says that such a ignorant person who is experiencing like that, please don't disturb that person, don't confuse that person, but engage that person in his various activities. Slowly make him aware of his duties and teach him to dedicate these duties to Ishvara, and slowly and steadily, when this person becomes pure, when his mind becomes ready, then teach him that self-knowledge and make him free from all this bondage. So this is the scheme which Bhagavan is presenting here. So as long as we have this ignorance and we have this strong identification with our body, mind and all, we should perform our actions dedicating to Ishvara. It will definitely make ourselves fit to recognize that Ishvara within us. So that is what is called Karma Yoga. So after giving lots of reasons and various examples, finally Bhagavan again tells Arjuna that you follow the path of Karma Yoga. So what is Karma Yoga? That is briefly presented in the following verse, very beautiful verse. Verse number 30, Bhagavan tells us what is Karma Yoga. He says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Bhagavan says, I hope all of you are having a book, Bhagavad Gita in your hand, and when I chant, you also chant with me. So keep track of all the shlokas which we are doing. Remember what we have done before. Write notes properly so that you understand the whole Bhagavad Gita in proper context. Because it the wisdom is released trickle by trickle, little by little, in a very beautiful and systematic way. So if you with faith, you just follow the guidance of this Bhagavad Gita, everything will become very clear. So here in this verse, Bhagavan tells us the gist of Karma Yoga. He says, Mai sarvani karmani. First of all your karmas means all your duties. You do all your duties. We have obligatory duties, as I said, which are given to us by the Vedas. That is yajna, dana, tapak, karma, based on our gender, based on our varna, based on our ashrama. The Vedas, they guide. Plus whatever duties we have in this world as a citizen of a country, as a citizen, as a member of a society, as a member of a family, whatever duties we have, which we have understood logically, rationally, intelligently, those duties, Bhagavan says, you just fulfill them. Because each one of us, when we do our duties, then everyone gets benefited. If even one person misses his duty, then lot of people suffer unnecessary. Even in a family, if all the family members perform their duties properly, then everyone benefits. But even if one fellow doesn't do his duty properly, then everyone suffers because that gap remains. Just like in our body, if all the organs they do their respective work properly, then the whole body remains healthy and it benefits me. But even if one organ becomes sick, even if one organ doesn't work properly, then the load comes on all the other organs and there is an imbalance in the whole mechanism of this body. Same thing happens in this world. Whatever be your position in this world, everyone has got some role to play in this world. If we are alive, we have a role to play in this world. Once we are dead, our role is finished. But as long as we are alive, we have a role to play, an important role to play. According to Ishvara, every person's role is important. In the world, people may appreciate some role, they may not appreciate other roles, they may consider some work as superior, they may consider some work as inferior. But as far as Ishvara is concerned, for him, every jiva is important, every person's work is important, and every person's work has a role to play in the total cosmic structure. So whether people appreciate or not doesn't matter. We have to fulfill all our duties, dedicating these duties to Ishvara. Bhagavan says, Mai Sanyasya, you dedicate them to me. Here again Bhagavan is revealing his own identity as that Ishvara to Arjuna. Later on he will even show his Vishwaroop to Arjuna. So here he is saying, O Arjuna, you dedicate all your actions to me, means you bring that attitude in your heart that you are living for Ishvara and you are working for Ishvara, you are breathing for Ishvara, you are feeling for Ishvara, everything is for Ishvara only. Your life is dedicated for Ishvara. मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दूसरो ना कोई रे. Like Mirabai says. So similarly one should have that feeling that whatever I do with my body, mind, intellect, kayena vacha mansendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yadyas sakalam parasmay narayana eti samarpayami. That whatever I do is dedicated to Ishvara. It doesn't matter. Even if I am alone somewhere, nobody is there to look at me, nobody is there to appreciate my work, even there I can dedicate my work and life to Ishvara because he is there, he looks, he knows everything. And if we are working for him, then we will not bother whether people are appreciating or not. We will not bother whether the world is acknowledging it or not. We will not bother. We will not even worry when we are doing our work. We will not take a photograph of it and put in the social media so that everyone comes to know about it. No, we will not do that because Ishvara knows. He knows. Even if I am alone on an island and I am remembering Ishvara, taking his name, he knows. That is the beauty of Ishvara. He is all knowing, all pervading, and is also residing in everyone's heart, and he is most compassionate and most kind and most wonderful. So Bhagavan says, O Arjuna, you work and dedicate all your work to me. And this dedication of work, how it happens? You have to work outside. You have to do your work. But in your heart, you have the attitude, you have the notion that all this I am doing for Ishvara. So therefore Bhagavan says, Sanyasya adhyatma chetasa, with your chetas, with your mind, with your feelings, with your heart, you dedicate everything to me. In the 18th chapter also Bhagavan will say, Ki sarva bhavena bharata, with all your feelings you dedicate yourself to me and work. Doesn't matter. Your work may be very simple. You might be just in your home doing your simple things here and there in the home. Fine. That is appreciated by Ishvara. Remember him and make every work, every single work, a beautiful puja of Ishvara, a beautiful dedication of Ishvara. That let every work be perfect because it is being done for Ishvara. So if we bring that attitude in our heart, we will be a karma yogi, we will be a upasak, we will move towards bhakti. See, karma yoga, upasana, bhakti are all karma marg only. So Bhagavan says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashihi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Bhagavan says you become totally nirashi. Nirashi means without any expectation. You work with no expectation. Means that work itself is worship. That work itself is important. That work itself should be beautiful. Don't pay attention to the result which will come. Don't pay attention to anything. That work itself is important. And the rest will be taken care of Ishvara. Not that you will not get the result. Not that other things will not be taken care of. Not that you will not be looked after properly. Everything will happen. But your focus should be on performing your work properly, dedicating to Ishvara. See, sometimes you must have seen some people with so much of love and affection, they do puja. So the Bhagwan's Murti is there. They invoke the presence of Bhagwan in that Murti and start performing the puja. So dhyana, avahana, asana, padyam, argyam, achamaniyam, snanam, all these steps they do. And when you look at them, if you look at you look at a great devotee doing the puja, that itself will be a great thing of joy to see. Everything that person does will show his expression of his love, his dedication. If you can observe a mother taking care of the child, the newly born child, so delicate, so soft, so beautiful, the mother with all her love will take care of the child. Even when she is dressing the child or giving bath to the child or applying the powder etc. to the child or applying oil to the child, everything will be done with so much of love, so much of attention, so much of dedication that it is a joy to watch. Because the mother knows, the child knows. It is not done to please the world. It is not done to please the society. It is done because of that relationship of mother and child. Similarly, we should do our work because we have a relationship with Ishvara. ईश्वर से हमारा नाता है. In Ramayana also Bhagwan tells Shabri ji कि मान हो एक भगति कर नाता, कि भगवान कहते हैं शबरी जी से कि मैं एक भक्ति का नाता मानता हूँ. I accept, I recognize the relationship of love. I recognize the relationship of dedication. Same thing Bhagwan tells Arjuna, you just do your duties, dedicating them to me without having any attachment of anything whatsoever. Nirashi ही, don't have any expectation कि ऐसा करेंगे तो मुझे ऐसा मिलेगा, ऐसा करेंगे तो मुझे. Don't have any selfish, ulterior expectations. Work with that total love. Because Not having expectation and just working is also part of our expression of our love. Otherwise, it is a deal. Otherwise, it will become a vyavahar. It's like we serve our mother, but when we say, okay, mother, I will give you this water, give me money. I will take doing your seva, give me money. I am doing this, give me money. Then it is a deal. It is a vyavahar. But when I am serving her without expectation of anything, then that is my expression of love. When I do this, I get the blessings of my mother. But I am not even doing for the blessings of my mother. I am just doing as an expression of my love. Similarly, when a person does all his work as an expression of his love for Ishvara without expecting anything, nirashihi. Asha means expectation. So having no expectation whatsoever. Nirmamaha, even not having the sense of possessiveness in anything. Nirmamaha, mama abhavaha. Mama bhavaha cha nirgataha yasya. There should not be any feeling of mama, that this is my, this is my, this is my, this is my work, this is my thing, this is my. So don't have any feeling of my. Dedicate all your my and all to ईश्वर only. कि मेरा कुछ नहीं है, सब कुछ ईश्वर का है. हाँ, क्या लागे मेरा, तेरा तुझको अर्पण क्या लागे मेरा. सो पत्रम पुष्पम फलम तोयम यो में भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहम भक्ति परतम अश्नामि प्रयतात्मभिः. That whatever I am doing my work or whatever I am offering, I am just offering to you out of my love. Bhagavan says, even if you offer me a leaf, a flower, a water or a fruit, I will just accept it. I will accept. And when Bhagavan accepts, हमारा काम हो जाता है. We don't have to sign a petition or we don't have to sign a deal with Bhagavan. Just do things out of pure love without expecting anything. He will take care. That's called having total trust, having total faith. See, when a child goes with its parents, the parents go for some trip. So when the mother takes the child, she will carry all things in her bag which is required for the child. If the child is little, that all the napkins and the dresses and the milk bottles and all sorts of things she will carry. The child don't have to worry. The child just have to surrender to her mother and go with the mother. Similarly, when we surrender to Ishvara and do his all work as a dedication to Ishvara, Ishvara will take care of us. So when we follow this path of Karma Yoga and when we start feeling the presence of Ishvara in our life, when we start feeling the presence of Ishvara in each and everything happening in our life, then you will know the fulfillment of this Karma Yoga. So Bhagavan says, Nirashir nirmamo bhutva. Don't have that sense of my in things and beings and actions and anything of this world. So becoming free of mamatva, becoming free of all expectation, and also becoming free of all excitement, vigata jwaraha, without having any anxiety, without having any worries, vigata santapaha, without having any worries and anxieties कि क्या होगा, ऐसा क्या होगा, वैसा क्या होगा. अरे क्या होगा, Bhagavan will take care. You don't have to worry. Till now, all things which had happened to you was done by Bhagavan only. And what will happen in future will also be done by Bhagavan. From beginningless time, he is taking care of us. And in future also, he will take care of us. So without having worries, without having anxieties, We have to work. Not that we should become lazy, not that we should not work, not that we should not have proper attitude. Or we should have. We should have proper attitude, we should work, dedicating everything to Ishvara without having any anxieties, any worries. He will take care. If he wants to keep me in a particular place, he will keep me. If he wants to take me to some place, he will take me. If he wants to keep me alive, he will keep me alive. If he wants to finish my work in this world and want to change my body, let him do it. It is all him. Again, to give that example of that child, it is all up to the mother. The child, mother feels that, oh, now I should change the dress of the child. Oh, I should change the napkin of that child. I should now give bath to this child. I should now give some food to the child. The mother decides, because the child is totally dedicated to the mother. The mother decides what is best for the child and gives at the appropriate time. Similarly, when we dedicate ourselves to Ishvara properly, sincerely, Bhagwan will decide when things should be given to me, what situation should be given to me, how I should be taken care. Everything Bhagwan will decide. So that's what Bhagwan says in the 9th chapter also. You just think about me and work for me, I will take care of you. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. So I will take care of you. So yudhyas vigatajvaraha, free from all anxiety, Bhagwan tells Arjuna, yudhyasva, you fight. Here directly the advice is given to Arjuna, because fighting this war was a direct duty for Arjuna. So this is not a general statement for all of us that you go and fight. What Bhagwan is telling all of us is, with this attitude, you do your work, you do your duties. So even for Arjuna, though the war is terrible, though it is so many people will die, this extreme example is taken here in Mahabharata, that even in extreme situations where a lot of people will die and all, but if it is our duty, we have to do it. We have to just do it. Part of life, part of nature, part of Bhagwan's grand plan. We don't know how. And Bhagwan works in this way only. The whole world works in this way. Utpatti, Sthiti, Laya is the continuous process which is happening in this world. Things are created, things are sustained, things get destroyed. So constantly things get destroyed and constantly things get created. Nothing is stable in this world. Except our own self, nothing is stable. So everything is constantly destroyed and constantly created. So even though we are dedicating ourselves for Ishvara, our body will constantly get destroyed. Our body will get it will apakshiyate, it will slowly degenerate. Our mind will change, our intellect will change, our situations will change. Things will keep on changing in this world. But with whatever change, with whatever situation, Bhagwan says, you just work, dedicate yourself to me and work. The idea of Karma Yoga is to get tuned to Ishvara through our work, through our love, through our dedication. We should tune ourselves to Ishvara. If we have done that, then we have achieved the purpose of Karma Yoga. We should tune ourselves to Ishvara. He is there. He is present within. He is present everywhere. He is present within as our own self, which we experience. But He is also present everywhere, which we don't experience. We experience Ishvara in this body as our own self, but we don't experience Ishvara in everybody. We don't experience Ishvara who is present everywhere. That is unknown to us. What is known is our experience of Ishvara in this body as aham, 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 which is free from all the all the disturbance and impurities of body, mind, intellect. That pure Ishvara is there within us as aham, 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 as I am. Aham asmi, as I am. Aham asmi gudakeshu sarvabhutashaya stitaha. Aham asmi, aham, 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 I am. So I experience Ishvara within this body, within my mind as I am, as the pure existence. But I don't experience the presence of Ishvara in the other bodies and in the whole world. If once my mind becomes pure, once I identify with Ishvara properly, once I get tuned to Ishvara through my karma yoga and dedication, I will be able to experience the presence of Ishvara in the whole world. Siya Rama mai sab jag jani, karahu pranam jori jugapani, vasudeva sarvamiti, samahatma sudurlabha. So Tulsidas ji says, I see the whole world as Siya Ram. Bhagavan says that one who sees me everywhere is very rare, is a great Mahatma. So to reach this state, we have to begin with Karma Yoga attitude. Dedicate all your duties, duty towards yourself, towards your family, towards your society, towards your nation, towards the Devatas, towards the Rishis, towards the birds, animals, towards the ancestors. Dedicate all this to Ishvara, because Ishvara is present in all of them. Ishvara is present in birds. Ishvara present in animals. Ishvara is present in all the seasons. Ishvara is present in the earth. Ishvara is present in the sky. He is present in the air. He is present in the waters. He is present in the Devatas. He is present in the Rishis. He is present in the ancestors. So when we do our duties towards all of them, we are doing our duty towards Ishvara only. See, all our duties are ultimately done towards Ishvara. All of them should be dedicated to Ishvara. So when we do this, we will get tuned to Ishvara. We will feel connected to Ishvara. We will feel our breathing, our thinking, our feeling, our everything is connected to Ishvara. So this is the sar, the essence of Karma Yoga revealed in this verse number 30, कि मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्य अध्यात्म चेतसा निराशीर निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगत ज्वरः. So the whole conclusion of all that Bhagavan told, all the reasoning he gave, that how this world was created by Prajapati with Yajna Bhavana and why we should work with Yajna Bhavana, and how we should dedicate everything to Ishvara. So many reasoning Bhagavan gave, and final conclusion is that you work, you do your duties. This is the Bhagavan's opinion, this is the Bhagavan's advice given not only to Arjuna but given to all of us. Bhagavan tells all of us that, oh my dear people, you just do your duties, dedicating them to Ishvara, to me. So here in the next, we may not understand all the logic. Sometimes some of the verses here in Gita are very subtle, very sublime. We might not understand the reasoning. We might not understand the logic. But one thing we should understand is Bhagavan is just telling us that you do your duty, dedicating to Ishvara. So Bhagavan says, those who have faith in my teaching and just follow my advice, they will benefit. They will be blessed by me. That's what Bhagavan says in the next verse. He says, Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyantah Muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Bhagwan says that eme matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Bhagwan is giving this Bhagavad Gita to the entire humanity. Therefore, here he says that manavaha, all human beings. See, the scriptures are not meant for animals, birds, plant, for the devatas. Bhagavad Gita is taught only to human beings, not to animals, birds, plant. You cannot teach them. They are guided in a different way by Bhagwan. But to human beings, Bhagwan guides us through the Vedas and through our Shastras and through this Bhagavad Gita. So therefore he says, Manavaha, all human beings, eme matamidam nityam anutashtanti, those who follow my advice. What was Bhagwan's advice? Ki do your duties, dedicating them to Ishvara without having any attachment. So, Kartavya Buddhi, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, Asanga Buddhi, Samatva Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi. With that, you do your work. So, eme matam idam nityam anutishtanti. So, those who listen to my advice and follow them, put them into practice, put my advice into practice. Anutishtanti, put it into practice. उसका आचरण करते हैं. When on Sundays or on Ekadashi or on Janmashtami, which day they do? Bhagwan, which day one should do? Bhagwan says nityam, regularly, continuously. It should be done continuously. See, just like our breathing. When do we breathe? Every day we breathe. Every moment we breathe. Even when we are asleep, breathing goes on. Breathing is part and parcel of living. We cannot live without breathing. Breathing is part of our life. Similarly, our dedication of our karma to Ishvara should also be like breathing, part of our life, done at every moment. Means our life itself should be dedicated to Ishvara. Our whole attitude should be dedicated to Ishvara. So Bhagwan says nityam, continuously, without a break. So one who eme matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha, so all human beings who follow my advice and do according to my advice continuously without a break, Shraddhavantaha, with faith in me, with trust in me. With trust in me. See, when we go to a doctor and the doctor does some diagnosis and then he makes us sit there and tell us what is our problem. And sometimes the doctor uses lot of technical terms and all. You have this and this is there and this has increased and this has decreased and this is happening, and uses lot of high funda technical terms also to explain to me. And then finally, after telling all this, he says, therefore you take this medicine, you can take this for a month. You take this in the morning, take this in the evening, and do this diet, and you will be fine. Within 1 month, you will be totally fine, healthy. So, after explaining everything, what he wants us is to take the medicine. Some of the thing which he said, we may not even understand. Some of the technical details which he told us, we will not even know what his fellow is telling. But we have faith in the doctor, we know what he is speaking, and finally we know what advice he is giving. Similarly, Bhagwan told Arjuna through various things about the Prakriti and Vaishvanara and Prajapati and Yajna Bhavana and Ishvara and Hiranyagarbha, and so many terms and technical words and all he gave. And finally he tells, "Oh Arjuna, you do your duties, dedicating them to me." So Bhagavan says, Shraddhavantaha, having faith in me, trusting in me, you work. Shraddhavantaha, anasoyantaha, without finding faults in me, without criticizing my teaching, without finding fault in my teaching, and without finding fault in me. That's called anasuya. Not having any asuya. Asuya means to find fault. To find fault even in good things. Guneshu dosha darshanam. There are some people who will find faults in everything. Their whole vision has become negative. Even if you give them and present to them the best and the most beautiful and the most pure, they will find fault in that. It is not the problem with the object, but it is the problem with our vision. Vision has become defective. So, without having this defective vision, without finding fault in my teaching, having full faith in my teaching, those who follow my teaching sincerely, Bhagavan says, Tepi muchyante karma bihi, they will also become free from the bondage of karma. With faith also, if you just follow, you will become free of the bondage of karma. Again, to give an example of the doctor, that he explains there are two patients having similar problem. So, doctor explains to both of them all the technical details of the problem. He describes the whole anatomy and physiology and everything to them, and then he gives the medicine to both of them. कि ये medicine ले लो regular. One fellow understands everything what the doctor explained. Another person did not understand all the explanation, but only understood how the medicine should be taken. Both of them take the medicine regularly, properly, and both of them become free from all disease. Both of them get cured. The one who knows the mechanism and takes medicine gets cured, and one who takes the medicine with faith, that person also gets cured. Similarly, here Bhagavan says that even if you may not understand what I am saying, with faith you just follow my advice and you will become free of all your bondage. Shraddhavantaha, with immense trust and faith in me, anasuyantaha, without finding fault in me, without finding negativity in me, without finding some shortcoming, unnecessary trying to see something and give some reasoning of not doing that. Some people are that if you tell them and give them any advice, they will find fault and they will tell how it cannot be done. This is also a psychological problem with people. You give them any advice and they will come up with some reason, and sometimes very creative and fantastic reason how it cannot be done. So what can you do with such people? You tell them anything and they will tell you how it cannot be done. It is impossible. It is totally useless. So Bhagavan says, please don't find fault in my teaching. Follow my advice sincerely, with faith, and you will definitely see the result yourself. You will see the result. Such people with faith who follow me, Bhagavan says, Tepi muchyante karma bihi, they will also become free of all karmas. But there are always different type of people. There are people who don't have faith in Bhagavan. Bhagavan says, I am talking to you, hey Arjuna, like a teacher here. So asuyacha mai gurau vasudeve akurvantaha. But there are people who don't have faith in Bhagwan, may not have faith in Bhagwan, may not have faith in his teaching, may find faults in him, may find faults in his teaching, will not follow his advice, will not do as he is guiding us in this Bhagavad Gita. Bhagwan says, what will happen to such people? That he will tell now in the next verse, and he also gives us advice on how we can avoid this negativity within us. So this we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then, take care of yourself, do your duties, dedicate yourself to Ishvara, feel his presence in your life. As you breathe, feel his presence. As you walk, feel his presence. As you speak, feel his presence. As you eat, feel his presence. As you drink, feel his presence. Because the problem is not because the God is not there. God is there. Problem is with us. We are not feeling the presence of Ishvara in our life. And that we can do through Karma Yoga. So more about this we will see in our class tomorrow. So see you all tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय.